this is a fundamental story of my conversion, if you will. I'd gone over to the Chapel of Grace to join my colleagues for morning prayer. I was in full robes, a long purple cassock, and there was a young man sitting at the back of the chapel, hunched over. And at the end of morning prayer, I went up to him, and he looked up and saw me, who I was and dressed, and he flinched, actually flinched. And he said, "It's all right. I know I don't belong here. I know I'm not welcome here. I'll be going. And I said, "No, I slowed him down and said, "What's the matter?" And he said, "Well, would you pray with me?" And I said, "Yes." And we went to the altar rail in the Chapel of Grace, and he'd just been diagnosed with AIDS. And he had no one to talk to. He'd been abandoned by his church and happened to be in the Midwest. He had no sympathy or no support from his family. And through the miracle of Grace Cathedral, we became his family, and he lived and he died with us. Well, I have a sort of silly mantra that sounds very naive, and that God has created us neighbors, and what it means to be neighbors to each other. How do we act neighborly? It sounds a very weak word in some ways, but we need to seek ways more and more of how to care for one another. And this is the big opportunity that we have in front of us right now with the AIDS epidemic on the one hand, the history of it and what we went through, and the amazing people we had at Grace Cathedral, the ministry that people did for each other and visiting each other and helping people through the gate of death, and sometimes helping them through into deeper health, and how much we're more bound up with one another. And this is true of the coronavirus too, whatever we're going through. And we're all mortal. As Julian Barnes says, we're all future dead people. We're all future dead people, and therefore, while we're alive, we may as well make the most of it and be a positive and hopeful influence wherever we can.